Welcome to The Explainer. We all know the grim statistic. Most startups fail. But what if that's not just a fact of life? What if it's a solvable problem? Today, we're digging into Pixie, an AI-native system that sees this colossal failure rate as a bug in the system, not a feature. It claims it can actually rewire a startup's DNA for success. So, let's see how.
Right, so we're going to break this down into 4 parts. First, we'll look at just how big this scale-up gap really is. Then we'll get into the clever bit of IP that Pixie claims has cracked the code. After that, we'll see how all that cleverness turns into an actual product. And finally, we'll look at the investment case and why it's a particularly smart bet for UK investors.
Okay, so first things first, let's frame the problem. Because this isn't just a story about failure, it's about a massive systemic inefficiency. And wherever you find that kind of inefficiency, well, that's where you find a huge opportunity. 90%. Think about that. That's pretty much the default setting for a startup. It's not really a risk, is it? It's the baseline. And a number that high tells you something important. This isn't just about a few companies messing up. It's a clear sign the whole innovation ecosystem is fundamentally broken. So what's the real cost of that 90% failure rate? Well, it's exactly this: a colossal waste of innovation, capital, and human potential. You see, it's not just businesses that are vanishing. It's the great ideas, the invested capital, the sheer human effort, all going up in smoke because the very system that's meant to support them just isn't. And if we bring this home to the UK, that waste has a price tag, and it is a big one. £150 billion. That's what economists reckon we could add to the UK economy if we just nudged the startup success rate up by a tiny 1%. Just 1%. That's the size of the prize we're talking about for getting this right. And this funnel, this shows you exactly where everything goes wrong. It's in this valley of death between years 2 and 5, where 70% of failures happen. Now, these aren't companies failing on day 1. They've proven their concept, they've got some customers, but then they hit this wall and just fizzle out before they can properly scale. That massive drop-off right there, that is the UK's scale-up gap. Okay, so if the whole system's broken, how on earth do you go about fixing it? Well, Pixie's entire argument rests on a piece of proprietary intellectual property they've built. The core idea is to stop treating business scaling as some kind of dark art and start treating it like a science. They call it ScaleUp DNA. And look, I know what you might be thinking, not another business school framework. But this is different. This is a genuine proprietary data asset. It's been built from the ground up by analyzing thousands of companies to figure out what the successful ones actually have in common, the specific, measurable, and codifiable traits. It's literally like they're building the first genetic library for what makes a business grow.
And really, the best way to think about it is like genetic engineering, but for a business. The logic is simple. If you can identify and map the genetic markers that reliably lead to success, then you can start to make targeted interventions. You can spot the weaknesses before they become fatal. You can double down on the strengths. You are, in essence, systematically engineering that company for growth.
And the way it works is actually beautifully simple. It's a 3-step process. First, it uses hindsight, analyzing all that historical data to build the ScaleUp DNA library. Then it uses insight, taking a live startup and indexing it against that library to generate a real-time scale-up score. And that, crucially, leads to foresight, a predictive, prescriptive growth plan. You're taking what worked in the past to create a concrete strategy for the future. Right, so that's the theory, the clever IP. But how does that actually help a founder on a wet Tuesday morning? How does it become a real product you can actually use? This is where the AI scaling system comes in. Okay, so this is how it all fits together in the real world. That core IP we talked about, the DNA, that's the engine, and it powers this whole suite of tools. It all starts with the scale-up score to diagnose where the company is right now. That score then generates a custom roadmap. The sat-nav acts like a live GPS to keep you on track. And the squad gives you access to the specialist talent you need to get the job done. It's a complete closed loop, from diagnosis right through to execution. And when you put it side by side with what's out there now, the difference is, well, it's night and day. The old way is reactive, it's descriptive. It tells you what happened yesterday. Pixie is designed to be predictive and prescriptive. It tells you what to do tomorrow. And this is really important for us here in the UK. This isn't some generic model that's been copy-pasted from Silicon Valley. It's an integrated system built to tackle the specific challenges British founders face.
Which naturally brings us to the money. We've seen the problem, we've seen the solution, so now let's dig into the numbers and why this is a particularly compelling and I would say cleverly de-risked opportunity for any UK-based investor. So, looking at how they make money, it's not a one-trick pony. They've built a really smart, diversified model. You've got your classic SaaS subscriptions from the startups themselves. Then, there are licensing deals with VCs and larger enterprises. They've planned for a global franchise model for expansion. And finally, strategic partnerships. It's a robust way of capturing value from all corners of the ecosystem. Now, any smart investor is going to ask, what's to stop someone else from just copying this? Well, the competitive moat here is strong, and it's built on two things. First, they've locked in these incredible partnerships with Google, Gravity Global, and Zasmic. That de-risks so much of the tech, the marketing, and the execution right from the get-go. And second, and this is the big one, that's ScaleUp DNA itself. The more companies that use it, the more data it gets, the smarter it becomes. That creates a classic network effect that gets more powerful over time, making it incredibly hard for anyone else to catch up.
Okay, now for any sophisticated UK angel investor, this is probably the most important slide we'll look at. This is the power of the Enterprise Investment Scheme, or EIS. Let's take a worst-case scenario. Say you put in 50 grand and the company goes to zero, a total loss. Well, because of the 30% income tax relief, you get £15,000 back straight away. Then, on your remaining loss, you can claim loss relief against your income tax at a 45% tax rate. That's another 15,000 odd quid back. So your actual, real cash out the door risk on that £50,000 investment, it's not 50 grand, it's less than 20. The government has effectively shouldered a huge chunk of the risk for you.
And at the end of the day, it all comes back to this one simple idea. This isn't just about a clever financial model or a smart bit of tech. It's about a core belief that good ideas, real innovation, they deserve a fair shot. It's about fixing the system so that all that potential isn't wasted. So that brings us full circle. We started by saying the startup ecosystem has a fundamental multi-billion-pound problem. It's inefficient, and it's failing our best and brightest innovators. Pixie is putting itself forward as the system designed from the ground up to fix it. So the final question is pretty simple, really. Are you ready to invest in the solution?